Why are you all here at 12 o'clock in the morning? Oughtn't you be at school?
No, don't go to school.
Have you finished school?
Yeah.
Have you a job?
No.
Are you looking for one?
Yeah.
Any chance of one?
No.
Have you left school?
No.
Why aren't you at school?
We only go in the afternoon. There's no school in the morning.
You mean you're going to a tech?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to the tech?
Yeah.
What are you going to be?
I don't know.
What about you?
I go to the tech as well.
You do, yeah. And you?
We go to school.
And why aren't you at school now?
Ma kept me home this morning.
Why?
I really slept it out.
You slept it out until Friday.
Yeah.
What about a job?
I'm looking for one.
That's what? Like what?
A messenger boy.
What about you?
I'm not working. I'm looking for a job.
You're looking for a job?
Yeah.
As?
Okay, as long as I get a job.
Now, what's it like living down here?
You can do any amount of things in the flats. Once you have friends, you're okay.
Once you've got friends, you're okay. Don't we all say that? Doesn't mean any more when said by children who live in the heart of the city of Dublin, in the streets behind the docks, in the parish of St. Lawrence O'Toole. Children who are hemmed in and seldom see further than the funnels of the ships in the docks, so near the blocks of flats in which they live. Flats like Sheriff Street, less than 20 years old, but already a ghetto. If a woman can't drag a pram up the stairs, she can put it in the ugly, obtrusive pram sheds, which look like the afterthought of an architect who had forgotten about babies. You can admire your neighbour's washing, since there aren't any flowers to look at, and nobody thought of putting a laundry in the basement. A little barbed wire never did children any harm. Besides, kids are kids, and it would take more than barbed wire to damp them down. There's a lot of washing in the flats, and an awful lot of children. 2,500 of them, shared between the 560 families and the 3 blocks of corporation flats that make up the Sheriff Street complex. There is a playground, a very inadequate one, and in any case the big ones playing football drive the little ones out. And besides, it's only open when somebody is on duty. The flats are what they are because of where they are, in a cramped triangular site right in the centre of industrial Dublin. Sheriff Street itself is wide and busy, a main artery straight down to the docks, carrying a stream of heavy lorries and container trucks. Sheriff Street Bridge spans a stretch of water called Spencer Dock, and nearby too is the railway. All this is irresistible temptation to children, bored by the empty concrete of the flats.
I can go see in the hills.
Can you still go in there?
Yeah, but...
And are you let in there now?
No, in the night time you have a security.
But during the day, are you still going in and playing around that dock?
Yeah. You get fed up at the playground, and there's more open space in there. And you can do what you like in there, you know. You're not afraid of breaking windows or anything with a ball or anything like that. And there's plenty of open space. It's just gone to waste, it's just left there. There's nowhere else to play, because if you go out on the road you get a bang of a car, and if you're missing in here you get fed up all day. And you can't stay in the flats all day. If you're playing football or something in the flat, they say all the women start giving out because you're breaking a window or something.
There have been a number of drownings at the disused dock involving children from the flats. CIE are legally responsible for Spencer Dock, and they say they have no statutory power to fill it in, since a number of firms still draw water from it. Since the drowning started, CIE have built walls and improved fencing. They have removed barges and bollards which attracted the children, and during the summer they employ a full-time watchman. But all that is little consolation to Mrs. Bernadette Dennis, whose son Georgie was drowned in Spencer Dock.
Well, he was after being in school that day, and when his school was over, he just came up and left in his bag and went down to play. And he came up then and had his tea. And he went down to play again, and next about 6:30, the children kept roaring that he was in the water. And I looked out the window, and I seen the crowds just roaring up saying it was my lad.
We were just down there throwing bricks into the water, and
Georgie told me to go over to the Moss Bank, and I went over for rocks, and I came back and I just seen bubbles coming up.
And then this lad, Joseph, he fell off the roof here about 4 years ago, and he's got has psoriasis since. He broke out with a nerve rash since.
Mrs. Dennis's troubles have not come to an end. Since we filmed this interview, her 6-year-old son Gerard was hit by a car in Sheriff Street. He was chasing a toy which another child threw out into the traffic. Fortunately, Gerard suffered from no more than shock and was discharged from hospital after a few hours. Accidents like that happen in Sheriff Street.
Ever since, my mind has been a hell to me here, with the other younger children.
Anything outside the flats is inviting. A watchman's fire, a passing lorry, a dangerous dock. There are small patches of trampled grass here and there among the flats, but the children are not allowed to use them. Instead, they are provided with a concrete playground which has a few swings and a small pavilion in which 2 paid helpers do their best for a very few of the toddlers for several hours a day. In this inadequate environment, children turn to delinquency. When denied the opportunity for legitimate play, they assert their frustration by indulging in what we like to call antisocial behavior. If a child hasn't a proper place to throw a ball, he will throw a stone at a lamp bulb, or climb over a wall into waste ground, or into a yard, or into what the evening newspapers call Dublin's killer dock.
Why you not look?
No jobs, I'm looking for a job.
Oh, down
How you said that they hang? How you said that the fire now? The master hangs them out the window.
He does. He does hang them out.
It does.
When I was in there, the master never hung us out the window. We had an easy master.
The Chris's is better than that.
Chris's is a slaughterhouse.
It's not a slaughterhouse.
It is a slaughterhouse. It is.
I got an hour
Why
now.
do you think I left it?
I know, because you didn't like it.
No.
Mitching all the time.
Wasn't Mitchell.
Then I
was
went,
Mitching.
then I went to Rutland Street. Rutland
What's
Street.
it done?
I know they don't learn much, but it's good in there.
It's not good.
It is.
It's a half a shed. You just
And
have
the
to walk
Christian
out to
Brothers
play.
is the best.
And Rutland Street is the best. Just play
Christian Brothers.
football.
You get your books and all free.
You can catch your books free in Rutland Street, but you don't bring them home. You do.
You bring them home in their school.
I know.
You give them back at the end of the year.
We don't get them back.
We do.
We keep them.
Yes.
We get our copies and pencils and all free. You don't give any money. You're like what I always do. I always give you
You
something.
don't give me some.
I do give you
You don't.
something.
You wouldn't give us the share of the Easter eggs you got yesterday.
Well, you didn't. If you got them, would you give me any?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
I would.
You wouldn't. I
I
know
got
you,
them
but
for-
I know you.
You had 3 for yourself and you wouldn't
I
give
haven't
them.
got three myself.
Yeah.
Didn't Bowie take one out of me for to give you?
Yeah, they had
But then
5.
that was mine.
They had
That was,
5.
I only had 3.
Yeah, and you're supposed to
I
call
had
us.
5. Bobby gave me.
Yeah, you were. I asked you to call us after they got me tea.
You were down the flats.
So I met you at the avenue. I said I'm going up me tea. I'll see you after. I'll see you after.
Yeah, I
And called
seen it
me.
out. I seen it
And
out the
called
thing.
me. You never
And where
called
did we
me.
go?
And you're supposed
You
to give
done a
me back
bond,
the
didn't you? You
gloves.
done a bond.
You didn't give back the
didn't do
gloves
a
yesterday.
bond.
We said
You
you
didn't
gave
give
me
me
3
them.
bucks.
I gave you the glove this morning. I gave him 3 bottle Leonard. I 2 bottle on and
Yeah,
silver.
I'm on about to 3 o'clock.
Time to move now, time to make a journey somewhere. Get out of the flats anyway. Go up Sheriff Street.
You'd like to get a job.
Got a job. And in the messenger boy. If I got a job as a messenger boy, I'd take it.
There's no boys no use in the winter.
Well, you still have money in your pocket, haven't you?
Still good to get the money.
You could get sick and leave the job there. And go to another job.
You could get some. You could go to tech and get some trade.
We have nowhere else to go. Just stay on the flats.
Most of the time we play cards. on the
You play
side.
cards in the flats.
It's Sunday morning.
From Sunday morning till about 10 till about 12. The broken prom sheds.
Then after dinner, we go to pictures. And then come home.
The traffic down on South Street is very dangerous. Big oil lorries be coming in and big containers. And all through the night, big oil lorries going up down to the gates.
Sometimes you go by Sheriff Street about 11:30 at night and all the kids jump on them.
And they break the lights and all the kids get knocked over by it.
Yeah, they're always breaking the lights.
Do you think the kids is going to rob the lorry?
Yeah.
And there's a little box at the, and you press it changes the lights. They just fly by. And then when they get up to the bridge, they stop. And when as soon as they see it, coming to the mirror, when they look to the mirror, they fly, just go on, even if the light is red.
Some of them get out and give you a box.
And we were fishing down there one Sunday, me and 2 other fellas. And 2 youngsters said, one youngster said, his brother, I'm going down to look for my treatment. And I was walking along the edge and I fell in. And another young lad put down his coat and pulled me up. I went up to him at the hospital.
I fell in up there, trying to get a ball, and I fell down. And I came back up again, I fell right by the hair, and he hit me.
There's be hundreds of kids in there, all out of the strand flats and all down here.
And some of them don't know how to swim, they just come out with a bit of mess.
CIE chased the children away from the Spencer dock, and maybe no more children will be drowned, at least one hopes so. There was talk of making the dock into a swimming pool, but it would cost too much, it seems. And all those old railway engines CIE have up at their yards in Inchicore. One or two of them in the playground, an adventure playground. It might keep the children off the streets, prevent them getting killed, playing ball, scuttling on lorries. Can't be helped, perhaps. A steady place to have flats anyway. It's no good putting more swings and things in the playground, they say. The kids would only smash them up. Demons they are. One woman who knows all about living in the flats is Mrs. Vera Kavanagh. When she was younger, she was a professional singer. She had 12 children and doesn't sing very much around the house now. Yes, a house, not a flat. A little house beside the flats. The Kavanaghs did have a flat on the 3rd floor, but they moved after their son Nigel fell off the balcony. And then there was Leslie in the Spencer dock. And little Brenda. What happened to Brenda?
I remember it was on a Wednesday morning. I was after having a new baby. She was 4 weeks old, Jacqueline. And I was bringing Jacqueline over to the welfare in Sheriff Street. And I left Brenda with Linda and Alan in the boys' playground to play. And I went in, and they give free dinners to the mothers, you know, when they have new babies in the convent.
Yes.
And I was sitting down, and a policeman come in, and I didn't know what was wrong. He was whispering to the nun, and I heard him telling the nun to keep me there. So I still didn't know what was wrong. And I heard him saying something about Brenda, and on the minute I thought that, you see, she used to take epileptic fits. And I thought you'd have to take him one.
What had happened?
It was a colery. I was after knocking her down. It was full of coal. So I left the baby in the dinners and I ran out. And when I went out, I saw Father Freeney covering her up with a sack. So I don't remember much more. I went hysterical and I was taken into the flats.
How old was Brenda, Mr. Kavanagh?
3.5.
I had another little boy, Nigel. He was 3. And he was playing on the balcony one Saturday evening. And we were in the house. I was just making the tea. After bathing him, and he was gone out to play on the balcony, and I heard Mrs. Whelan's grandson roaring for Tommy, my husband. And when he ran out, he just looked over the balcony, and Nigel was lying on the ground. He ran down, he took him up, and he called a passing car, and he took him to Temple Street. Well, in Temple Street, the doctor rushed immediately with him in his own car up to the Richmond, where he remained unconscious for 9 months.
9 months?
He had a brain injury.
And in 9 months he died?
He died in the rehabilitation centre in Dunleary after 9 months.
How long after Brenda dying was that?
3 months.
And then?
In August, same year, I think 6 weeks after, Leslie went out that morning with Paul Byrne, another little boy in the flats. And he hadn't come in for his dinner. And I thought he was up in my mother's house up in North Gloucester Place. So it went all day, and that evening when my husband come in, I says to him, Leslie hasn't come in yet. He said, he may be up in your mother's. So he took the bike and he went up to the town, and then he wasn't there.
And what had happened?
Leslie had a cattle stick hunting the cattle at the bridge, and his stick fell into the water, and he climbed over the bridge to get into the, just pull it out, and he went back into the Spencer dock.
3 children in one family?
3 of them, yeah.
Killed by accident within 3 or 4 months?
3 of them, yeah.
A drowning motor accident.
And one fell over the body.
And one fell over the balcony. Nothing but balconies and bleakness in this environment. The flats are nice inside, very good flats in themselves. But Dublin Corporation's attitude was to provide the housing and let the amenities take care of themselves. But amenities don't take care of themselves. The corporation does employ social workers, not nearly enough of them, girls like Noreen Carney.
I think that possibly they match up from the point of view of providing accommodation for families, fairly well, but from the point of view of ancillary services, they really are of a pretty low standard. Not just schools and health clinics, but especially play facilities, which are...
Well, these blocks here in Sheriff Street have been here for 20 years or so. Are you more satisfied with what's going up now, places like Ballymun?
Oh yes, I think so. But even for a group of buildings which are only 20 years old, these seem to have been pretty poorly planned. I mean, as we look around us, they're planned around a square, which looks to me as if it could make an ideal playground, instead of which these clotheslines and coal sheds, etc., are put here.
Instead of being tucked away.
Instead of being tucked away and marking that out into a very reasonable playground, and perhaps having some grass, where the mothers can watch their children quite happily from here, and they're safe from traffic and from any of the hazards which abound in this area.
What is the real function of play for children, particularly children living in a city environment like this?
I wouldn't even distinguish particularly for children in city. I think play is an important part of development for any child, and this hasn't been understood up to now. It has been known that children need to be fed and their health should be looked after, and that they need schooling. But play is as important a part of the development as any of these. In order to develop language, a child has to be taught to play, it has to learn to play. Now this can be done in a home which has a garden and lots of other facilities quite easily in a natural sort of way. Where these aren't provided naturally, and where there are other difficulties of small flats where the children are compelled, if you like, to go outside, big numbers of children, you have to provide this over and above what the family can produce themselves.
The Sheriff Street children do escape the odd time, of course, off to the country in a minibus, off to a house in County Wicklow up by the Wicklow Gap, a house owned by the Department of Lands and Forestry and made available through somebody's good offices, and as a sort of contribution to conservation here, show the children of our nation the beauty of our nation. The driver is Louis O'Neill. He's the playground supervisor of the Catholic Social Welfare Bureau, which runs a number of playgrounds for the corporation, including the Sheriff Street one. He brings as many boys or girls out to Oakwood in Wicklow as he can. He doesn't seem to mind working through his weekends. A lot of social workers are like that.
Lou, lay off that. What do you think you've done here?
Oh, play.
Why?
I think you're getting a lot of fun out of it.
Yeah. What's the difference between this and Sheriff Street for fun?
You can hoose the sheep and all in here. You can play in the water and you can climb the trees and all.
But do not miss all the lorries and cars.
No. Hate them. Hate them now. Hate them. We like the sheep that chase them.
Yeah.
And they're all robbers down there and all. They're nice up here.
They like the food too.
It's better than Sunday because you all do go out to pictures and all. And we can go on the mountains every day.
Well, one of you at a time. What do you say?
Well, Sunday all of them go out to pictures in the flats and all. And just some of the fellas that do be left by alone. And we won't be able to go to the pictures now, so we like the weekend down here.
Uh-huh.
Because you can climb the trees, you can hoose the sheep, swing on the rope. What? And the house is nice.
And what?
When you hoose the sheep, you can get the wool off.
Get the wood off them.
We do almost that. We cut sheep.
And what about the farmers? Would they like that?
Yeah, they let us hoose the sheep for them. They asked us would we go down with them to hoose the sheep. But they had to stay out all day. So we said that we would be able to go.
So you'd come back here again, would you?
Yeah. And we like in the farm and we're going on the mountains. They're only great. And we do go travelling in the car. Yeah. Lovely views and all. Everything you want. Because there's no fun down in the flats. And there's fun down here. See, say you let your bog go out on the road and then you run out after, you could get killed on the road.
It's hard to believe, Louis, that there is such a place as Sheriff Street when we're down here and still it's only 35 miles away. You've worked in Sheriff Street a great deal. What are the major needs in a community like that one?
One of the needs which I think a place like this can meet is the need to get out from it. I think we in Dublin have missed out on the fact that we have a most fantastic playground on our doorstep. And perhaps one of the big needs, particularly for the children in Sheriff Street, is the opportunity to get out as often as possible. When you're speaking of Sheriff Street, you're speaking of a dock area, a number of blocks of flats, heavy traffic coming to and from the docks, the railway, a young population hemmed in, all the dangers and difficulties that go with living in an area such as this.
Louis O'Neill doesn't yet know about a piece of good news we heard a few days ago. A landowner in Westmeath, Thomas Pakenham, has offered to make available a house on his estate with 60 acres for use by children from Sheriff Street and other areas. Back in the area, Noreen Carney knows that a weekend in Wicklow is fine, but it doesn't go near solving the main problems.
It is a question of finance, and I wonder if any of us are prepared to pay more rates and taxes in order that the corporation can provide better housing estates. It might be that land could be made available for the local tenants associations to develop themselves, and perhaps to be given complete authority to run their own areas, to have a sort of local authority in its literal sense.
The local schools are overcrowded. The teachers in them fight against tremendous odds. Huge classes, the apathy of parents, old buildings. But now there's a new kind of school for the Sheriff Street children in Liberty Hall every night. It's a tutorial session run by a young American named Joanne Murphy. She's helped by a roster of about 70 volunteers, most of them students. At Joanne's tutorials, there's an average ratio of only 6 pupils to each teacher. Joanne talks about her work with an intensity born of her American experience.
The comparisons between the ghetto that is Sheriff Street and ghettos I have worked in America were so evidently clear, the social and economic gaps that the children are suffering from, that I thought it was worthwhile trying to start up the tutorial program, giving the children the chance to have the same kind of relationship with the tutors that I had found fruitful working in America.
Your program means that the children come out of the ghetto, as you call it, and come up here to Liberty Hall in the evenings. To what extent do the local schools approve of your program? Because they must feel it as, in some sense, reflecting on their inadequacies.
I think they feel that it's a new idea, one that they haven't heard of before, one that they can't necessarily accept or cope with as yet. I certainly would hope that we could reach the point of close cooperation with the schools, because this would be the ideal situation for the children if we could have a good working relationship with the schools.
Well, what do you hope to achieve in this program?
I think it can basically be summed up that we want to break down the barriers for the children. We want to draw on their self-creativity. We want to give them the time that they can't have in schools that are hopelessly overcrowded, and in homes that are hopelessly overcrowded as well. They need time, and they need people to give them the time.
Some of the tenants in Sheriff Street are giving time to a new tenants association. They are concerned about a wide range of problems, including that of the many children from the flats who appear in the courts. In the police force, there are a handful of policemen called junior liaison officers, whose job it is to keep such children out of the courts. We asked the Commissioner of the Garda Síochána for permission to interview the liaison officer for Sheriff Street. We were refused and told it was contrary to Garda Síochána policy to build up a personality cult in the force. The committee of the Tenants Association is worried about how things are going in the flats.
Because we have not got police protection in the first place. Police are afraid to come down. I myself are afraid. A taximan will not come into Sheriff Street at the moment. A young girl of 14 or 15 going for a job today, when she mentions Sheriff Street, she won't be giving a job. I know people in this area have to give strange addresses for the help of their children to get jobs. And it's all the fault of the parish, because we haven't got the unitement of the men of the parish.
They may be bold, but they're not all that bad.
No,
you know.
No, the kids.
Your children are bold no matter where you go.
They're cheeky. Well, you can't expect kids to be otherwise. But cheek won't kill us, and if we get their confidence, it's amazing how the cheek stops.
How many meetings have you called since you formed the community centre? Of the people in the area? How many meetings have you called?
3.
3?
Yeah.
And out of them, what did the total amount in the 3 meetings come to? Did it come to 40 people?
Well, no, I agree with you there. But this is it, you see.
So it's the parent control that we're concerned. If we could get the parents, we could solve the children.
I'm concerned about these children from 4 to 12. At least get them on the straight road. What happens to the ones above that, someone else will have to look after. But these mothers, if the mothers put out their hands and helped, things would be straightened out. And I can see it being straightened out if the mothers have come along, because the fathers doesn't seem to come along.
Overcrowding, no social centres and extremely limited play facilities lead to vandalism and delinquency. The children are forced to play on the streets and are killed by the traffic. They are forced to play around Spencer Dock, which CIE says it cannot fill in, and they get drowned. Their emotional development is stunted. We asked Dublin Corporation had they any plans to improve play facilities in the flats. They told us they had no plans at the moment, but were open to suggestions. We in Report offer this programme to them as a suggestion and as a stimulus to their imagination and to their humanity.